Yo, what is going on, gamers, and welcome back to another Fortnite video. Hey, in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys gameplay from several solo wins that I had. And I'm going to give you some of my best advice on how to get solo wins in this game, so you don't end up like me in this scenario. 1v1, had some good plays, and a choke because I make a stupid decision. So, alright, first and foremost, I like to land in places that have good loot. Now, those tend to be a little bit more crowded areas, just because of the nature of the game in Battle Royales, but you definitely want to go somewhere where if you win, you're going to come out with decent loot. So, it doesn't matter if you land someplace remote and you get to the top 25. I mean, that's all dandy, but you have just white guns, you're probably not going to end up winning the game anyways. So, it's good to land someplace where you can guarantee that you're going to walk out with something good. Next thing I would say is you need to memorize chest spawns. Chest spawns are crucial in this game. Half of them give you white SMGs and nothing else, but sometimes you get something really nice out of them. Now, another thing I'll tell you is that audio cues are huge. Hearing the footsteps of your opponents, really important to pay attention to that sort of stuff. Definitely make sure that you got your sound effects in-game turned up, because you definitely want to be able to pick up on those. It's how I end up getting these 2 shotgun kills, is I'm listening, I'm hearing the footsteps, and I place where they're coming right here. I put myself in a position where I've got a third-person camera that's going to show me when the guy pushes up the stairs, but he's not going to be able to see me. So I can just peek out and know exactly when and where to shoot, and he's on the receiving end of what what can be really frustrating in third-person shooters like this, is when the other guy has that third-person camera advantage. So you definitely want to try and give yourself that advantage whenever you can. Use your audio cues to know which direction they're coming from, and put them in the position where you're going to be in cover, but you can still see them when they're coming, if that makes sense. So that's going to let you know whether you need to put the cover on your left or the cover on your right, by using those audio cues. Next thing I would tell you, you're going to see a lot of shotgun kills in this gameplay. That's because shotguns are super strong in this game. It's really difficult to win a full match without having a shotgun, because of how many close to mid-range engagements you get into. So because of that, 2 things I would tell you. First is this: you need to learn how to pace your shots. Pacing your shots is hyper important with shotguns. A lot of times people will just pick up the tack shotties and start spamming the trigger, and they're missing half their shots. You definitely don't want to pull the trigger if the reticle's not on the guy. So don't spam the trigger. That's going to get you killed a lot in this game. Never trigger spam with a shotgun, especially with a pump, because the pump will automatically queue up the next shot, even though you haven't done the pump animation yet. So it'll just automatically go off after the person pumps, after your character model pumps the shotgun. So that's a really bad scenario. So that's the first thing I'll tell you: pace your shots. Second thing I'll tell you is that the pump is it's nice to have both a tack shotty and a pump shotty on hand, because the pump shotty has incredible range, and you can do over 200 damage to the head with a pump shotty. So nice to have one of those on hand, and then when the opponent gets real up close and personal, starts bunny hopping, then the tack shotty is your better option. But another thing I'll tell you is, you see here, I spent the time to build up. I'm in the middle of the zone, so if I'm in the middle of the zone, I want to have some cover. So I build up a nice 3-story building here, and this building model is really common for people to use, where you got walls on the outside that are at least stone or metal, and you don't want wood walls if you can help it, because those can get sprayed down really easily. So stone walls are nice, and then you have the stairways, the staircase models on the inside, so that you've got cover, and you can just kind of use those head glitches, use the stairs as a means of getting into a head glitch. Now here again, I'm using my audio cues to know there's a guy right below me, so I kind of use the third-person camera to place him, you saw there. I'm going to build a little floorway here, and then just get a nice little angle on him. Headshot with a shotgun makes short work of the dude ski. So another thing that I will tell you is it's awfully nice to have a sniper rifle in the end game. That's why looting is so important. That's why it's important to land at some place that's going to give you good loot, because you want to make sure that you got a sniper rifle on hand for the end game. Because in the end game, you're going to get lots of people like this. They're in their buildings, they're in their sort of cover that they've built for themselves, and they're going to be using those head glitches. So it's nice to know that when your bullet hits, it may as well put them down, right? So that's the difference between using an AR and using a sniper rifle. Obviously, the bolt action does enough damage to one-shot an opponent to the head, even if they've got a shield. So really nice to have a bolt action. Semi-autos, they can put down somebody in one shot with a headshot if they don't have shields, but they don't do a ton of damage relative to the bolt. So the bolt is definitely your preferred option there. But you can make do with a semi-auto, as you'll see in some of the later gameplay here. Now here I'm the last man standing with one other guy, and basically just using my audio cues to place the guy. I've got high ground. You definitely want to get set in the zone early and often, and then get some building done so that you have the high ground, you have the advantage. The other guy's going to have to push you. You definitely want to give yourself the advantage by making the other person have to push you when you come to the end game. Here you're going to see this is another solo win. Obviously, these are just queuing up one after the next after the next. Here you see I get a purple tac shotty right on the drop, and I took the time to look around when I was landing to see where everyone else was going. I knew this guy was going to be close, so I just grabbed that shotgun, instantly pushed up on him because I don't want to give him too much time to loot and get shields and stuff like that. If I know I've got a good firearm, I'm going to go ahead and push that guy instead of just taking the time to loot up first. I want to give myself the advantage when I can. Now, in this particular game, people just kept coming straight to me. I would basically I'd just have time to heal up after my engagements before someone else would come along, and I'd have to put them down too. I ended up having 6 kills, literally all right here. So I walk out of retail row with 6 kills right around this little semi-truck, save for that first one, which was on the other side of this building. But they were all right here. So they just kept pushing one after the next after the next. There's a giant pile of loot here around this semi-truck. So it was a really fast-paced start to the match. But it feels really good, and you walk away from your landing zone with lots of activity, and you walk away from it with 5 or 6 kills and really good loot. You feel real good about it. Even if you end up losing the match, you still feel really good about winning that landing zone and having all those kills to your name. So then I end up pushing up into the zone, pick up a guy with a semi-auto sniper, as I talked about earlier. And then here's another thing I want to talk about is when you have the ammo, take the time to spray down the buildings that your opponents are making with just your ARs. If you've got AR rounds to spare, definitely take the time just to put some rounds into whatever it is that they're constructing, because it's going to sort of freak them out a little bit. It's going to, take away. Well, they get in the snare, right? They're pulling out their blueprints, and they're like, oh, they're sort of panicking. You start gunning down what they're building. Like, well, do I put my blueprints away, pull out a weapon? Do I try and keep building? You kind of give them that hesitation, right? Now here I'm in a 1v1. This guy, he racks me with this rocket launcher, takes away all my cover, so I have to bum rush him. I use his building as cover, push around, pull out the shotty, and just hit him center mass at point blank for the nice W there. And here again, you see I'm landing at prison. Prison can be hit or miss for me. I don't go there often in solo matches, but this is just one time where it worked out pretty well. The party bus flew right over it, so I figured it would have plenty of activity. Ended up walking out with some pretty decent loot, and ended up getting into several firefights right around the prison. Here I potato some shots with the pump. Then eventually I start making my shots count. Drop the guy, barely any health to my name. I heal up, get a little bit of shields from that slurp juice, and then basically the zone kept whittling down right onto my location, so I didn't have any real need to push out anywhere. I had decent loot, decent guns, and the zone just kept forcing people to me, so I had a nice position up on this little hill, ended up building up on it, and taking advantage of the fact that the zone just kept pushing people to me. I had some splodes, had the scar, had a bolt action. It's really important to take the time to go loot, even if you get a kill from far away and you see they got good stuff. You definitely want to, as safely as you can, push up on it and get that loot if you can. Here I end up dropping one of these guys, and the zone finishes the other one off before I can. And then I push in, I build so that it's a 1v1 and I've got cover. Guy has to push up on me, and I'm able to just easily take him out. That's what I talked about earlier. Really, really important to get set when you're in the end game. Get set in the middle of the zone if you can and get some building done, because that's going to give you the advantage. It's going to put the burden to push on your opponents. That's a really good idea, a really good scenario to be in. When they are forced to push, you don't have to go anywhere, and you've got high ground, and you've got cover. That's definitely where you want to be. Now, this is another retail row drop. I love going retail row, because between the blacktop stores and the residential area, you end up having plenty of loot to choose from. So I definitely like that. Definitely like coming to retail row. I highly suggest retail row. And another thing that's good about it is, even if you're not that great yet, it's still good to land in places like this just to put yourself in engagements sooner than later. You don't want to waste 15 minutes of your time before you get into your first engagement just because you went to someplace remote because you're a little gun shy about your skill. All that's going to do is just delay your gunfights, delay your practice. You're not going to be getting in gunfights often enough to really improve. So it's good to go to these places that are a little bit more crowded, because that's going to give you the opportunity to improve your own shot and to improve your own skill. Now here you see how much I love using hand grenades. Grenades are so nice to have because you can take away people's cover. I caught this guy healing because I blew up his cover with my grenades. Now here I am in zone. I've already built. These guys had to push to me, drop one with a sniper, and then end up hitting this guy right as he jumps out of his fort with my rocket launcher. Felt real good, man. Felt real good. Last win here that I'm going to show you. And this one was a little bit slower paced for me. For some reason, I just didn't see too many people, even though I landed in a relatively high traffic area. Sometimes you get in these matches like this where it just seems like no matter where you go, nobody's there. So it kind of took a while. Only had when it got to 10 people left, I only had 2 kills at that point, which is pretty uncommon. But then I was able to basically, I put myself in a position where I was right on top of a crate drop. I built around it, got the loot out of it, got a couple of guys killed as they pushed towards that exact same loot crate. I'm sitting on 3 kills at this point. So I ended up using the rocket launcher to take out this guy's cover. And then, like I said, sniper rifles are so nice to have in the end game, especially if you have both snipes and splodes. It's a really nice combo. But I kind of forced the guy out of his cover, switch to the bolt action, get a quick shot on him to finish him off. Catch this guy pushing into the zone. Like I said, it's good to push into the zone first and get stuff built up. You definitely want to get into zone before anyone else has the chance to push in and build themselves, because then you're going to have to push on them. I'm left in a 1v1. I just use a sniper, get a nice little quick drag on him for the W. So I've got several solo wins to my name so far. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay. I'm going to try to collect even more, and if you enjoyed the videos and the tips, then I'd be happy to make some more for you. Hope you enjoyed it, guys, and look forward to catching you on the battlefield.